Always takes me a couple of tries through Zoom. WebEx, other ones, I don't have any issues, but Zoom, I seem to take 2 or 3 tries before I can
Interesting.
talk and have proper video. Oh, hi, Cindy and Suzanne.
Hi, Ezra. How are you?
I'm good. It's reminding me of Oregon here the past few days.
I was going to say your ducks are back.
Yeah.
Oregon ducks. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is thunder, lightning, and pouring rain. Are you over yonder here?
I'm at my house. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So
A couple blocks away.
Yep. And Suzanne Caskey's over in Meadowood. So are you getting the rain over there, Suzanne? Yeah.
Yeah.
And nothing down valley? You guys are okay with that sunny?
We had just a sprinkle, but it moved on pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten anything. It's been 80 and nice.
We've been having thunder.
Mm.
Just don't have that as much around here as you do in the South. And I've been enjoying it. You know, it's kind of like, wow. So.
I enjoyed one of those driving in the rain deals yesterday, leaving Denver, where I
Ooh.
think I was back in New Orleans, when it's just like, you know, just like the buckets, sheets of rain where your wipers are going as fast as they can and you probably get off the highway.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. I was just glad I learned how to drive in that.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, it's equally as dangerous to hydroplane as it is to drive on ice.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny. I'm way more
Realizes that.
afraid to drive in the rain than in the snow.
Western girl.
Colorado girl. The other thing that I've been noticing more here is the fog. We've gotten more foggy a little bit around here. And so, yeah, it's just kind of a different feel.
Mhm.
Hi, Mr. Matthews. How are you?
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Good. Glad you made it. We can see
Hi,
you.
Zach.
Zach.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Mr. Lundgren. Can you hear us? Maybe? Hello?
Bonnie, you ready to roll?
Forrest, are you able to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Perfect. How's everyone doing?
Real good. Thank you.
I think I have Ryan Lee's old computer, so I may have been the Ryan Lee earlier.
Okay.
I think he's here now, though.
I do see him. Mr. Lee, how are you this evening?
Doing well. How's everyone?
Real good. Nice to see and hear you. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi,
How are you this evening?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Real good. So, we're waiting on Joe, but right now we have a quorum.
Okay, great.
Bonnie, you ready to roll?
We are now. It's all you.
Excellent. Good evening. It is Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. It's 5:01 p.m. Sorry for our tardiness. This evening, we have a new member joining us, Suzanne Caskey. Welcome back to Planning and Zoning. From the commissioners, we also have Jasmine Tiger, Monty Thompson, Chelsea Clark, and Zach Matthews. We do have a quorum. This is Jeffrey Woodruff. It's 5:02 p.m. We have one item on the agenda this evening. This is a public hearing. This meeting is called to order. Any commissioner comments unrelated to COLA LLC's growth management application? Any staff comments unrelated to COLA LLC and their GMQS application?
Yeah. Hi, Jeffrey. Cindy Hubin, Community Development Director. Thank you. I just wanted to announce that the Board of County Commissioners has made some new appointments to the P&Z. Suzanne Caskey, we're happy to have you here today. And some reappointments of Joe Kraybacher and Monty Thompson. So we're happy to have you back. And unfortunately, they had a hard decision to make and were not able to reappoint Jim Fashancy to the P&Z. So we are working with that board. And another late announcement, but unfortunately, Justin Nyberg, who was appointed to the board, just let us know that he's going to be unable to fulfill that position. So we'll go back to the Board of County Commissioners and ask them, what they'd like to do from here. So that was disappointing late word, but that's where we are on that. And Jeffrey, if we could, I thought we would just ask Suzanne to tell a little bit about herself real quickly. Is that okay?
Please.
As you know, my name is Suzanne Caskey. I grew up in the South in Georgia. I moved to Aspen in 1978 with my then husband, Jack, who did set up a medical practice, obstetrics and gynecology, and practiced here for decades. Jack and I moved after having lived here for 46 years, 45 years, I guess, something like that. We moved to, of all places, the university town in Georgia, Athens, Georgia, and built a cottage there and found it a really fun place to live, and with a very well-educated community. And Jack had an emergency. He had significant and severe pain one evening that just appeared out of nowhere, and we thought he was having a heart attack. Called an ambulance and quickly found out that with having no symptoms before that, he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer that had metastasized to his liver. He was given 6 months to live, and he died 21 days later. Just amazing thing to go through. It of course, that something like that changes your life. It makes you sift your priorities again and decide what's really important and what is not worth wasting any time on. So it has focused me in new ways. Soon after moving here, I was appointed to the joint review committee for the city and the county, the Clean Air Advisory Committee. And that meant that whatever we did, we had to have okayed at City Hall, and then we had to go across the street and do the same thing with the commissioners. It was during those years, I'm proud to say that I chaired that commission for about 5 or 6 years. And during that time, we passed the smoking ordinance, and we also passed the no new fireplaces and only clean burning wood stoves could be used. We went from being under EPA sanctions and days when you could hardly see across the valley if you were standing in town, to clean air. So I know that things worth working on, like climate change, that we in Aspen can make a difference in that way. I was appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission in the early 80s, and I served with fabulous people, almost always men, for about 14 and a half or 15 years. And then I resigned to try a grad school program in Oregon. Let's see, I served on a number of other boards over the years and also worked in my husband's medical office. After Jack's death, I came back here thinking I was going to come back for 10 days only to hold his memorial service here. And I stayed at the encouragement and so much help from friends who encouraged me to stay here during my acute grieving. And it was certainly the right thing to do. The thing that was the biggest surprise is that within that year, I fell in love with an old friend and he with me. And so we married 3 years ago. His name is John Kelleher. He's been here since 73. And so here I am back. I will say that, you know, the most interesting things that I was a part of when I was on Planning and Zoning Commission before usually had to do with the long-term planning. And I served as a volunteer on the growth committee this past fall when the growth management system and such things were discussed by this citizen board that was formed just for that reason. And I was very excited to hear that probably in the future, not immediately, but apparently it's on its way, we will begin looking at things in the county and planning through the lens of climate change. That is of extreme importance to me. So that spurred me to throw my hat in again. And I'm very happy to think that I'll be with all of you, most of whom I don't know. But Joe, I know you.
Hi, Suzanne.
Hi. Great to see you, Joe.
Likewise, thanks, and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Suzanne, for that wonderful introduction about yourself. And Jeffrey, I have one other item that I'd like to discuss really quickly with everyone here. And that is, there's been some question about how we're going to conduct our meetings from here on out, since a lot of the COVID restrictions have been lifted. But at the county level, we've decided that for now, for June, the month of June, to continue our meetings as is with this Zoom format. And we'll take another look at it in July. It was the easiest thing for us to continue on with, not really knowing a lot of other factors, but we will be gearing up so that we can accommodate, you know, a lot of different needs, so that we could hopefully do hybrid meetings. One of our biggest drawbacks right now is that we only have, you know, the commissioner's meeting room on a regular basis. And that room, if you're going to capacity at the 6-foot distance requirements, really only has capacity for 10 or 11. And so if we have a full complement of 9 P&Z members and a staff member, then we still don't have the spacing requirements that we need. So we're looking at all of that and looking at potentially how you guys might want to deal with applicants being able to come in to the room and potentially on sort of a reservation basis and have staff leave the room, or how that might work out. So we're gonna work on all of that in June and come back to you in July. So are there any questions about that for me? So it's kind of business as usual with our Zoom meetings until we figure all that spacing out. So, all right, well, thank you very much. And I think, Jeffrey, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Suzanne Wolf.
Thanks, Jeffrey. The only thing I wanted to mention is right now your agenda shows that there's nothing scheduled on those June meetings. We had been talking to Pico about coming back on the 1st of June to follow up after the discussions you had and the action you took regarding the East Aspen Master Plan, to basically make a further recommendation on their application. I've been a little out off the circuit for a little bit here. So I need to kind of see if I'm going to be able to kind of gear back up in order to do that on the 1st. But so it's just sort of a heads up that even though the agenda says you currently don't have things scheduled, we may be trying to bring that to you on the 1st. And if not, maybe that, whatever that next date was, I think the 18th or something along those lines. So I will be in touch shortly as I figure that out.
Excellent. Tammy or Bonnie, anything else from staff?
Not for me.
Excellent. And Suzanne, I would like to add at some point the violations in the Pitkin County Land Use Code by the additions and changes through the county commissioners with respect to hemp and with respect to hemp in rural and remote Colorado. And again, John Ely has responded by saying he would be available at any planning and zoning meeting where we do revisit hemp. Again, I'm not looking to strike down what the BOCC enacted. However, it does go against land use code in multiple sections, and certainly sort of as a pro-agricultural community, it's a very strange, the language they adopted, again, I think is incongruous with many parts of the land use code. So I would like to revisit that with John Ely at his convenience.
And let me.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder on that.
I'm going to say goodnight now. I'm not official enough yet I'm not truly official yet. And so I'm going to go on with my evening without you. Thank you for all that you're doing now. And Jeffrey, Cindy is planning to get together with me and one other new member. Now maybe there's going to be a third, it seems, and as an orientation. And I'm going to find ways to try to catch up as quickly as I can.
Wonderful. Look forward to meeting in person as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Suzanne.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much, Chelsea.
So this is a public hearing. Any public comments unrelated to COLA, C-O-L-A, LLC's GMQS application? Otherwise, Bonnie, any public?
There is no public on tonight,
Excellent.
or at this moment anyway.
Otherwise, this is the first time that we are meeting under the new and improved GMQS competition. And we have one applicant for up to 7,000 square feet of allotment in rural Pitkin County. And there's one application and there's two resolutions this evening in your packet. On page 6, there should be the activity envelope and site plan review. And then on page 11 is the growth management. Tammy, as well as Ezra, have scored the application 22 points, which would meet criteria. And they've been kind enough to give themselves a bonus of 1 point for preserving Hallam Lake, which they called affordable housing, but I'll let them explain. So Tammy, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, you said half of what I was going to present, but hopefully this this application should be pretty simple and straightforward compared to a lot of the other GMQS applications you guys have reviewed. So I'll just do a pretty quick overview of the activity envelope and site plan portion of the application, and then let the applicant present anything they'd like to share. And then I guess depending on how the commissioners feel about staff scoring, they can either choose to adopt it, or we can go through specific categories, or we can go through it all too. So it's whatever the commissioners feel like doing. So just to start, the owner and the applicant is COLA LLC. They're represented here tonight by Ezra Luthus, their planner, and Ryan Lee with Forum Phi as their architect. The subject property is located at 173 Buchanan Drive and is specifically described as lot R6 of the Starwood subdivision. The zoning is RS20. It contains 2.579 acres. The lot was created in 1962 And in 1964, it was improved with a single family residence and then has been remodeled about 3 times since then. It also received a BOCC approval for a 700 square foot attached CDU, which is still part of the house. And currently it contains approximately 7,694 square feet, including that CDU. Oh, I should share my screen. Sorry, guys. Hold on here. All right. Okay, so let's see. So what you guys are looking at is the existing house and the proposed garage. So tonight, the application is basically a request to build this detached garage in this, I guess, southeast corner of the lot. It would contain approximately, well, exactly 1,425 square feet, and that's what they're requesting in their growth management allotment. It'll be about 1,138 square feet above grade with 287 square feet below grade. And the purpose of that below grade space is to house some solar energy battery storage for some potential future solar panels in the future. And that's not part of the application tonight. So this lot has never received an activity envelope approval. And so to do this proposed garage, they do need activity envelope and site plan approval. So here is a rendering of that proposed garage. And let's see, here is their proposed site plan and activity envelope. This application was referred to a number of referral agencies. We did get comments back from the Starwood HOA and Open Space and Trails. And additionally, within the application, there were letters of support from the Aspen Fire District, ACES, and the Roaring Fork Conservancy. So just to start with the activity envelope and site plan portion, it's fairly simple. There's not too many constraints on this lot. There, as you can see on the site plan, there are slopes of 30% or and 45% more. Those are shown with the green and the red colorings. However, most of those slopes are due to the construction of the house and the driveway and around the pond. So those qualify as minor slope anomalies and are not considered a constraint. The other section we look at is wildlife habitat. So this is within a mule deer and elk winter range and mule deer summer range. The applicant did engage Colorado Wildlife Science Consulting to evaluate the parcel. And they basically determined that construction of this garage would not have direct impacts to those animals, and felt that this garage, any impacts could be mitigated to the wildlife overall pursuant to section 72070. The next constraint we looked at was wildfire. It is mapped within a severe wildfire area. However, the applicant engaged a consultant to evaluate the hazard, and they basically found that due to most of this, I guess the area shown in white is mostly a manicured irrigated lawn. And because of that and the landscaping, that the fire risk should actually be a low rating. And so with that, the applicant has committed to adhering to those recommendations in that report and the general standards for a low wildfire hazard rating. And then the next, I guess not really constraint, but section we look at is scenic view protection area. This lot is within the McLean Flats Road and Highway 82 scenic view protection corridor, but it is a very considerable distance from those roads. So due to that distance and the fact that it's on a mesa and set set far back, it's really hard to see from the naked eye exactly where that lot is. But the applicant has nonetheless committed to using indigenous earth tone colors, and the maximum height of that garage structure will be 14 feet to the midpoint of the roof. So no other main sections of Chapter 7 were applicable. There's no floodplain hazards. It's not close to any streams or wetlands, and there's no geologic hazards. So staff believes that this application for this garage complies with all the standards for activity envelope and site plan review approval. And so I'll just move on quickly to the GMQS section and just say that, like Jeffrey said, there's an allowed 7,000 square feet of floor area available each year for the rural area for additional floor area. The applicant's only requested 1,425 feet. And since there's no other applications, there's no competition. However, they do need to meet that minimum threshold of 20 points. So staff recommended, based on the attachment A, which went through all the categories for the GMQS commitments, and recommended a score of 22 points, which does meet that 20-point threshold. And as Jeffrey noted, there was a commitment to do a bonus point. However, those points only come into play when there's competition. So it's not necessary. However, that commitment has been made, so it cannot be withdrawn at this point. So with that, I'll just go ahead and conclude and say that staff recommends the allotment be made, and let the commissioners decide if they want to walk through all those categories or how they want to proceed from here, or if they want to hear the applicant's presentation.
Okay. Am I not hearing anything, or is there resounding silence?
Ezra, is there anything you'd like to add, or Ryan, in terms of the application? I think the commissioners have read and seen the packet. It's pretty straightforward. I think, as you're going to describe and as Tammy's described, this is a garage addition. I think the commissioners, in terms of the deliberation this evening, would be to accept the additional money to ACES is probably also a no-brainer, as you've made the commitment. So, at this point, the commissioners could accept your 22 plus your 1 bonus point. But if there's anything you want to add, we appreciate your time and Ryan's time on the call. So if there's anything we missed, I do have some updates to the resolution, but they're really minor. And I think both staff and you, the applicant, would accept an amended resolution.
Okay, well, I'll keep it brief, unless you all want to hear something more, but essentially Tammy covered most of it. With the existing house at 7,694, there's a request for a garage as well as activity envelope and site plan approval. I just want to note that, we are okay. So the property is bounded by Buchanan Drive on the south and Trentaz Drive on the north, as well as developed properties on the east and the west. And this proposed garage has gone through the preliminary approval process with Starwood. They provided their comments, but as part of that process, I just wanted to bring up that the neighbors are notified and they have been involved with this particular project, not from the get-go, but in due time, so that they've had an opportunity to comment. And I think so far everybody is on board with this proposal. But yeah, I think with the scoring, I can go through each one, or as you guys have, if you guys want to determine to just go ahead and do the scoring or accept staff scoring with some amendments to the resolution, we can do that. But I just want to say it was pretty interesting going out into the community. I mean, obviously this is a smaller lot. It doesn't have a whole lot to offer in terms of commitments that could be made on site, but it was interesting going out into the community and speaking with the different government agencies, from Public Works to, the HOA with Starwood, Aspen Fire Protection District, and some nonprofit agencies out there to, a lot of them had no idea what the GMQS process was. So it was pretty exciting to talk to them about it and, have them thinking about potential projects if the GMQS process survives moving forward. I think there are some people out there that could potentially earmark some projects for future applications if it warrants it. So I guess I don't know what you guys want to do. If you want to just go ahead and accept staff scoring, or have
we
me
would
go
like
through-
to discuss before we accept.
Or excuse me,
You were.
discuss.
So if there's any commissioner questions or comments for either Ezra, Ryan, or Tammy before we accept staff scoring and the potential bonus point. And while everyone's raising their hand, Ezra, my question would be, you're not looking for an exemption for below ground square footage for potential battery storage. You're just saying that is potentially what it will be used for, is the first question. And the follow-up question is, are you then exploring ground mounted solar, and that would be a separate application, or you just don't know at this time?
To comment on the below grade space, it just seemed that was going to be the best application for some battery storage. Currently, they are going over some design for that. The house doesn't face exactly south, so the house as an opportunity for locating some PV on the roof isn't great, but the orientation of the garage does provide it. So in the initial application, we were going to do some ground mounted PV, but there was some discussion of cost and whether or not they wanted to do the ground mounted or if they wanted to go with a roof application. So they tabled that for the time being, with the expectation that at least the garage roof would receive some PV panels, and possibly the house if the design is correct. So there is no request or future request for ground mounted at this time. We're weighing the options.
Excellent.
Whether it's going to be roof or ground mounted.
Chelsea, Monty, Jasmine, Joe, Zach, questions for Ryan and or Ezra and or Tammy? So while everyone's thinking about it, the only modification is to number 4, which is page 8 of the packet or page 3 of the resolution. Right now, it should read, and Ryan can correct me, but it should read to the midpoint of the roof, which, because you're getting credit under GMQS, would be 14 feet or 20 feet less 30%. So your cap is 14 feet, and number 4 should read to the midpoint of the roof, which would be 14 feet. So I just want to make that clear. And Ryan, again, you can correct me, or Ezra, but that's what your GMQS application should say, and that's what the resolution should say.
Yeah, it's 14
I agree with that.
feet, yeah, to the midpoint.
Yeah, and both of your calcs are under. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying that the way the resolution reads, it just says to the midpoint. It doesn't say of what.
Understood.
Other than that, if anyone would like to make a resolution, it would be the quickest GMQS meeting ever, which we appreciate. And again, I think it's a testament to it's a solid application and it's a good use of GMQS. And I'm sorry there weren't 3 other applications with you today.
I have to say, in the current climate, I'm surprised that there weren't more applications.
I would share your sentiment. So at this point, I would, we'll go for the resolution, which is on page 11, which is for the floor area, which is a resolution of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Pitkin County, Colorado, forwarding the 2021 Rural Area Residential Growth Management Quota System scores, which this resolution would say we're accepting staff of 22 and we're accepting the bonus of 1 for your work on Hallam Lake. Thank you. For additional floor area to the Board of County Commissioners. We're accepting 1138.25 for the garage and 286.75 for the potential solar battery storage. It is not exempt square footage as per 52070 G1, but it is part of your 1,425 square foot GMQS allotment. Do I have a motion?
I will so move.
So I have a motion from Jasmine.
I'll second.
I have a second from Chelsea. Joe or anyone else, any other discussion or questions for either Ryan, Forrest, or Ezra? Joe.
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with, have gone through the scoring. It looks like to me, and I'm not saying I'm against the application, but again, we're back into this, I'll pay cash to buy square footage.
Yep.
Right. So we've got 3 categories where they got an extra point, maybe 4 categories where they got an extra point for cash. And so I don't know. I know these are our revised guidelines, but I think that has caused some concerns in the past. It's not like we've said, no, that's not permitted. I'm not sure how we deal with that going forward. But yeah, if they hadn't paid the cash of, what is it, $42,000, this wouldn't have met threshold. So I just wanted to toss that out there. And that's my only comment.
And I think it's a sentiment that's also echoed in the draft note from the draft unsigned note from OST that's outlining the price per square foot or the pay to play, as they would so articulate. So the OST is basically saying the same thing. The systems reduced the cap but didn't change the scoring or methodology. And maybe it's a better question for staff than it is for Ezra or Ryan. Staff is silent.
Yeah, I can jump in. I mean, it's there's no answer to the question at this point. I mean, that is correct. That is what happened. We changed the caps. We lowered the amount available. We made a few other, minor changes, but we did not tackle the scoring criteria. That's the next phase, which might have been considered as part of, the discussion that kind of went south last fall. And is still now to come in terms of going back to the BOCC, getting direction on how to proceed, to have that bigger conversation about growth management, TDRs, the whole bigger package. So I'd need Cindy or Ellen to, come back and sort of give you a sense of the timing on that. I mean, I know they have met with the BOCC on, to start to work out some sort of time frame. But I don't think I don't have the proper details to give you today. But I guess, Joe, to say that's not escaped any of us, that we did not make any of the changes that affect the actual scoring criteria. And that is still to come, or that discussion is still to come.
Okay, yeah, I just thought I would, I assumed everybody's, understood that when they read the application and looked at how the scoring broke out. So, but yeah, that's probably like you say, a deeper discussion, and maybe some of the guide and some of the some standards here or the scoring criteria. I don't know. Maybe there's, because it's kind of like, if you're in compliance with the existing code, you're going to automatically get ones across the board, right? Now that doesn't get you to threshold, but you bump a couple of the categories with a little cash, and then there you are. And as I didn't see the pricing that Jeffrey was talking about, but just being in the real estate market, TDRs, I think the last sale was $500,000, and TDRs are virtually unavailable at this point. So all that, I guess, will play into our discussions down the road on.
And why aren't there more people participating in the GMQS program right now? I mean, I can think of 5 or 6 clients right now that have asked me, whether I can find a TDR. And you're right, they're virtually unavailable. And if obviously the lack of supply has driven up the demand. So then what do we do if there's not competition?
Well, I guess there'll be competition, presumably, because if people can't get TDRs, they're just not going to build.
And then will the result be that people just give more cash to get
Yeah,
more points?
probably.
And
Yeah, if
that's-
you look at, if you get 2,500 square feet for $500,000, you can run the math on that. And I don't know, my personal view about why we don't get as much competition is that, you got to hire somebody like Ezra, you got to have somebody to dig through this, and, it takes time, and, these applications, I don't know, they probably spent, who knows, 20 grand, 30 grand or something like that, to put it all together. And so, I think a lot of people are just whatever, they want it now. They don't want the uncertainty. And so we don't see as much competition, but I think that's going to change. But in any event, I don't want to bog this meeting down with that. Ezra, I thought it was a great application. You guys did, a great job, and so I just wanted to make that point. That's all.
Joe.
Monty, you had a follow-up question.
I was just going to kind of agree with Joe that, the competition will probably be coming for this. And one of the thoughts, and I don't want to bog this down either. I think it's a great application, and we can move forward our vote. But the thing, I think, just a quick point on the categories, maybe we expand the categories when it comes to this, to what you can put cash to, or how we actually involve the community and give the benefits for it. Might be something that maybe one of our meetings we can all sit around as a commission and just kind of kick around some ideas on that. But I did want to kind of just comment on that part. Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate Joe's comment too, for at least putting it on the record that the de facto results very similar to before we made a change to the guidelines or scoring. And I agree with the suggestion we should look at it again, but I do think it was a really well-written memo by staff and scoring by staff and package. So it's hard to argue with anything other than to approve it. And I can't see it affecting anything negatively.
Any other discussion regarding the first resolution, which is really, again, assigning the 22 points as per staff and Ezra, and assigning the bonus point for solving the homeless crisis at Hallam Lake?
Was that something that was in my application?
The way the application reads is the bonus point was assigned for a conformance with the Pitkin County Comprehensive Master Plan and affordable housing.
I think that's the first.
It's my reading of the application, and I understand that it's $5,000 towards ACEs, and we accept that, and it is to work at Hallam Lake with the turbidity of the water or something. So
just to go on record for that, that was obviously some sort of error that was uncontrollable. It had to be Microsoft or something. But it is for improving the outflow to basically de-weed of invasive cattail species, de-weed sort of the flow into the Roaring Fork River that would then go downstream through Woody Creek and obviously the rest of the Roaring Fork. But
no, Ezra, again, as you're hearing, the application's for a garage, and it's in some ways, it's a good use of GMQS. It is a good way of demonstrating that a fractional TDR would make sense, given the lack of availability and lack of affordability of a full TDR. So no, you have a strong application, and you don't need to defend it at this point.
Yeah, but I thought it was worth putting it out there.
Yeah, no, and again, we enjoy, these are short packets. It's easy to pick on the details. Any other questions or comments regarding the first resolution this evening, which is the award of the GMQS application and the square footage? So I have a first and a second. We've had 10 minutes at least of discussion. All of those in favor of the resolution of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Pitkin County, Colorado, forwarding the 2021 Rural Area Residential Growth Management Quota System scores for additional floor area to the Board of County Commissioners. Jasmine,
Yes.
Monty,
Yes.
Suzanne Caskey's not online. Chelsea Clark,
Yes.
Joe Kraybacher,
Yes.
Zachary Matthews,
Yes.
and Jeffrey Woodruff is yes. Did I miss anyone? So we are unanimous on the first resolution. At this point, we have a second resolution this evening, which is a resolution of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Pitkin County, Colorado, approving the COLA LLC activity envelope and site plan review. Again, I would ask that, I'm trying to find the number, that the number 4 should read to the midpoint of the roof. Right now, it just says to the midpoint and nothing else. And again, the applicant through Ryan Lee and through Ezra have argued that they would maintain that 30% reduction in height as per the GMQS application, which would mean that they're at 14 feet. Any discussion about the activity envelope and site plan, again, with that one change to the resolution? This amazing silence from this group.
I make a motion to approve the activity envelope and site plan per the resolution. It's in our packet.
I second it, Monty.
Further discussion about Joe's motion or Monty's second? Questions for either staff or Ezra or Ryan or Forrest? At this point, with that wonderful, comfortable silence, we have a resolution of the Planning and Zoning Commission of Pitkin County, Colorado, approving the COLA LLC activity envelope and site plan review. Again, with the one request that the height be maxed at 30% of the lot zone area, which would be 14 feet, which is in line again with the GMQS assertions that Ezra and Ryan have made already. Jasmine.
Yes.
Monty.
Yes.
Chelsea.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Zach.
Yes.
We are unanimous. It is 5:45 p.m. This could be the quickest GMQS application in the history of allocations. Would anyone mind if we adjourn?
Hey, Jeffrey, I got one
Yeah.
more comment.
Yeah, please.
Since we're talking about typos.
Yeah.
Is it Jeffrey or is it Jeff Fry?
They're getting back at me because I picked on the letter from the Open Space and Trails that still has the word draft across it. And I said, please, when you send this to the Board of County Commissioners, can you remove the word draft from it? So yeah, my new name is Jeff Fry. It's the real Jeffrey.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to say, because your Zoom moniker there is missing an E. But you know, I must have done
what
something people are doing
demonic
on
to
logos
deserve that.
now. Is you take a regular word and you take the E out of it, and that's the name of your new tech company. So.
Funny.
Maybe I could train horses and run the Belmont. No, again, Ryan and Ezra, again, thank you for the application, and thanks again for your attention to detail. And what we forgot to say is thank you again for the community benefit, which I think you clearly articulated, whether it's equivalent or we look at it relative to TDRs. I think that's, as you know, is a discussion for another day, but we appreciate again the time and happy to forward both resolutions to the Board of County Commissioners for their approval. So thank you again for your time and your diligence.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for the quick meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah, now what do I do?
There's a 7
I
o'clock
got at least
Snowmass
2
caucus
hours
meeting.
from the kids.
If you need another meeting, there's a 7 o'clock Snowmass caucus meeting with an activity envelope and site plan. You're welcome to sit through that.
Oh boy.
Chelsea can send you the list of people who are asking for TDRs. Maybe you can generate some additional competition applications.
Right.
They've been barking at my tree.
They've been barking everywhere, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody.
Likewise. Thanks again. Have a great evening. We're adjourned.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Nice to see everyone. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, good night, everybody.